Should animals be used for biomedical research? First off, what is animal testing? Animal testing is a process performed on living animals to assess the effectiveness and safety of drugs, medical products, and other household items. Oftentimes, rats, rabbits, dogs, and birds are used because they have similar biological compositions to humans. After research, I have found that no, we should not use animals for biomedical research because it emits waste into the environment, increases pollution, and additionally is ethically irresponsible to test on animals as it brings unnecessary pain. I will be discussing the environmental and ethical lens from my research. First off is the environmental lens, which produces waste and pollution. For the waste, the industry often disposes of animals and toxic chemicals through its process. Carcasses that have been used contain chemicals and toxic radioactive materials that the research facilities used. They get into the environment because they are difficult to dispose of. According to Faunalytics, many waste facilities can't handle them, so they are often left unattended, which means that humans and animals can be affected by them if they're not properly disposed. Additionally, the industry produces an enormous amount of pollution. Chemicals and other resources are used accurately to test drugs, and they are difficult to properly get rid of as well. The chemicals used contain pathogens and radioactive materials that create hazardous solutions and expose them to the environment. This is according to the Animal Free Science Advocacy. Not only does this expand water pollution, but it also increases risk on humans as they are exposed to these substances. These substances can harm humans by creating an increased risk of cancer and respiratory illnesses. One method that is especially harmful to the environment is the process of incineration. Incineration, or the destruction of waste through burning, is very harmful to the environment as it emits CO2 into the air, increasing pollution. A study conducted in Taiwan by the National Library of Medicine proved the adverse effects of incineration on human health. The study used 3 incinerators which had pig carcasses and other laboratory materials in it, and after they were burned, the study found that all the ash had contained iron, nickel, and zinc, which would get into the air and eventually in humans' lungs, especially for the workers that work in these facilities. Among air and land pollution, water pollution is also increased through animal research. Hazardous substances used on animals are caught in groundwater, which then flow to streams and rivers. A study conducted by the U.S. Geological Survey in 2002 found the chemicals were detected in 80% of the rivers they sampled. The chemicals found were often used by pharmaceutical companies that test on animals, which shows that they are a large contributor to the water pollution. Contaminated water can poison the public water supply, especially because it's harmful to filter out. So many people are consuming this water, which also creates disease and increased death. This is according to the World Health Organization. The environment is directly affected, but humans are also indirectly affected, which shows that it needs to be stopped. Next is the ethical lens. It is unethical to test on animals because it induces harmful physical and psychological pain. According to the PubMed Central, the moral status of non-human animals is similar to that of humans. This shows that animals deserve equal moral status and should be treated with dignity and respect. But the research facilities don't use this practice as they force animals into isolation, which induces stress and anxiety, and also they have lack of materials like anesthesia, which induces more pain. However, animal research has been shown to be somewhat beneficial, which should be acknowledged. According to Tulane University, new surgical techniques have been found because of animal testing. The coronary bypass and additional lead joint replacements and organ transplants were made possible through animal testing. Additionally, drugs that combat cancer and HIV were possible through this practice. Finally, education is an important thing that has been helped through animal testing. Educators from high schools like this one and all the way up to grad school like medical schools use animal testing or use animals for study and help students learn about the body and the organ systems, which helps the future medical staff. So in conclusion, no, we should not experiment on animals for biomedical research because they emit waste into the environment and increase pollution. Additionally, it is ethically irresponsible to animals as it brings unnecessary pain.
Hey, how did your research question evolve as you moved through the research process?
Well, my research question kind of stayed the same. I viewed it as a yes or no question that I wanted to be pretty strict on, but my answer changed a lot. At first, I wanted to do 3 lenses and include the scientific because I thought it was really important to know what we're talking about, but I found that I didn't have enough time. So then I moved towards ethical and environmental. But as I researched, I found that the ethical lens is very difficult to assess because a lot of the websites that I found are pretty subjective, and it's really hard to gauge like hard evidence as to why animals should be treated with respect and dignity. So I decided to put that as a shorter lens and focus more on environmental.
Okay, thank you. What might be the real world implications or consequences of your findings?
Well, if animal testing discontinues like I want, as I've shown here, then like schools like ours would not be able to test on animals and use like hearts and things like that to learn and things like that. But also these research facilities would have to change drastically as they wouldn't be able to test drugs and other things like that. So we would have to find alternative uses like organ on chip and 3D printing and stuff like that.